What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have a very special guest here for you guys. His name is Jesse, and he is the founder of the Lexit Movement, which to me personally has been a huge encouragement and just a huge inspiration dealing with all the things that have been going on, from Black Lives Matter to conservative politics. And I'm happy to say that he's here to talk with us a little bit about what he's been doing and what things are like over in California. Jesse, thank you so much for being here, man.
What's up, Angel? What's up, everybody? Just thanks for having me on. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure.
so I just want to tell you, man, just face to face, the Lexit Movement has done wonders for me and just feeling supported since I did my walkaway video, and things have just been blowing up. The support there is so overwhelming, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's just, to me, it's all God. Like, I don't give myself glory or anything. It's just God, because at the Lexit Movement, like, there's a lot of other movements, but
Yep.
no movement does like we do. We represent for the Lord, and we always put God first above all things. So I say, it's not me, it's God. God is blessing me, or God is using us. So
I love that, man. And I think that's what drew me to this movement in particular, because it was my Christian faith that really drove me into conservative politics and a conservative outlook. And I feel like a lot of that gets missed in the dialogue, especially in the mainstream, where, we can talk about conservatism, but the minute it gets into religion, people get a little bit weary. Have you noticed that at all? Is that something that you've...
oh yeah, definitely. And that's why because even when I first started, even there was a couple guys that was first starting with me, they were like, "Oh, let's don't say about religion and all that too much." And I was like, "Nah, you got to go then, because I'm gonna represent for the Lord. We represent for the Lord." Because, like I said, I know other conservatives that they're even Christians or whatever, but they're not vocal about their
Right.
faith. They're like ashamed. And I say, nah, not with us, not with Lexi. We're bold. We say it regardless. We tell people, if you, I mean, like, we're not a religious organization. Like, you don't have to be
Right.
Christian or whatever to be down with us with all, but we are, and we're not going to be ashamed of it.
Right. Yeah, I noticed you guys are even doing group prayer calls and stuff like that. I,
Yeah,
I
we
love
do.
that.
Yeah, we do prayer things together. So we even I started a pastor show with both of our pastors.
Oh,
But
very
yeah,
cool.
we just represent for the Lord. And yeah, we've seen little pushback, but I don't care. That's what we do. And then another thing too, I see that some conservatives, that they'll break it down to the left. Like, they say something, and if the left is attacking, oh, apologize. And all. That's one thing about Lexit. We won't ever apologize for anything. If
I
it's,
love
if
it,
it's
man.
the word of God, then we're standing to it. We obey the word of God. We
I
don't
think
care.
that's the important thing, right? Is the idea that, we don't have to apologize ever for obeying the word of God, right? The minute we step outside of that, maybe you'll get an apology, or we'll feel some sort of condolence for the things we said. But if we're aligned to scripture, then there's no need to apologize.
Like I said, and that's why I feel that's why God has been blessing us, because you don't even know. Like, every time I speak, even from day one, like, one of the first things I spoke at was, I spoke at the first Lexit rally, right, with Candace. First
Oh,
Lexit,
wow.
I was one of the speakers, and even right then when I came out there, I gave glory to Jesus. Like, whatever I do, no matter how big, White House, wherever I'm at or whatever, and even if somebody tries to say, "Oh, Jesse, something about you," I'm like, nah, it's God. God did
Yeah,
all this, not me.
absolutely.
It's
Um,
God doing it.
so I want to talk a little bit about the trajectory that you've went through, and how you got to even the idea of doing Lexit, right? Can you tell us a little bit about the origins? And we'll hop into what's going on in California pretty soon. I just want to give people some context of your story and who you are.
Yeah, well, I was a Democrat. I was an ex-gang member. I'm an ex-gang member from
Praise
LA.
God.
I did years in prison. I did 7 years in prison, and I got shot and paralyzed. But anyways, I was a Democrat, and just like how you were saying, the exact same thing with me. I was a Democrat, but I got saved. So as I started growing in my faith, learning about the Lord, and growing in my faith, my walk, I seen that there was no way as a Christian, as I could no longer support the Democrat Party, because they're just wild, evil, just
Yeah,
all. I mean, to me, they're anti-God. To me, there's no way you can say you believe in God and support the Democrat Party, because
I
now
agree, man,
they're not even the
wholeheartedly.
same party as 5 years ago. Now they're just full-blown evil. So that's why I left, and then I seen what Candace did. Candace was like a big influence on me, because I seen what she did with Lexit and all that. So then I knew a lot of Latinos and that are conservatives too. And I was telling, you know what, we need to do something for us, for the Latinos. And then first I was going to say, make it Mexit, right?
Mexican exit. Yeah.
But then a bunch of other Latinos on Twitter and all that, they were like, hey, why does it have to be only Mexican? Why can't it be? So then I was like, okay, Hexit. But then I was like, nah, that sounds kind of crazy. Hexit, you know what I mean?
Right. It didn't have a ring to it.
Yeah, so I just said it with Lexit like that. And then that's all. But then another big driving force that got me to do everything, because I was never really all into politics. I was mostly into more the gospel. Like before I got into all of this, I was just sharing the gospel all the time in there, and then on sports and other things like that.
Cool.
But I wasn't really into politics. But I was just sick. That what really was a driving force on me was the fake media. I was just sick of the fake media, just constantly attacking Trump, all sick, relentlessly. So that's when I first even made a Twitter. I just made a Twitter. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a Twitter account just so I could help out Trump. You know what I mean? Just
right.
Battling with some liberals, and I would do that and leave that on Facebook. And I was like, why should I just argue with some liberal from right here like this? You know what I mean? Now this way, I could really be putting it down on them.
Right. So you would say Twitter is like your main platform where you're most active right now?
Well, it was right now Instagram properly, but they shut down our Twitter.
Wow.
TikTok shut down our TikTok. Even Instagram, they're sending us alerts saying that they're about to shut us down.
Wow. Well, now you're on YouTube, man. So now it's gonna be even harder.
We haven't really made a YouTube channel yet. We're not really on channel, but then too, we were on Facebook, but we got our Facebook page stolen, bro.
Wow.
Stolen by some rhinos. Hey, I don't know if you heard some rhino, RNHA, some lady, whatever, the head of it.
Wow.
She stole our page from us, bro. They stole our Lexit page from us. So then we made a new one. It's up to like almost 60,000 now, the new one. But the other one, I was over 200,000. And they stole it. But me and my team, we're still just pushing. We're doing good. Like our Lexit War Room, it's been doing good. Like our last two shows had over 100,000. We got big name, big celebrities, big everybody coming on our show too.
I saw that. You had some great people there. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. One thing that I'm always curious to ask somebody that's in your position is, what was the policy or the event that happened? Was there a specific event that like changed your outlook on the Democratic Party and liberalism in general? Is there a defining moment for you?
One of the biggest ones that hit, that biggest one was when Obama started putting the men in the women's restroom. That was like the straw that broke the camel's back. You know what I mean? That was when I was like, these vile, disgusting Democrats. You know what I mean? I was like,
right.
There's no way I could be a Democrat. Just as all the things that they were doing. They were trying. Obama was trying to attack Hobby Lobby. He even tried to open up a petition against Billy Graham. Just in all ways. And then like I said, I was going to my faith. I think I heard it from a pastor or somebody said it. They're like, Christians are supposed to vote on godly moral values. So that's like the big, like all of our tickets, we have a whole crew. Everybody has like a little bit of different thing that they're passionate about, to be Second Amendment, pro-life, or whatever. Everybody, but mine is my faith. Mine is my Christian faith.
I think that's why I'm drawn to you and your movement, because there's that relentless ability to say, like, I'm going to vote for biblical principles regardless of what party it is. I mean, for me personally, if the right side of the aisle started doing things that were anti-scripture, I would drop them just as easily as I dropped the Democrats. And I think you're consistent in the same way. I think it's interesting that the men and women's bathrooms is the issue that kind of broke the camel's back for you, because, you know, we are told as Christians, like, men are not women, men are different from women, and we have a complementary but different role within life. And I think that the left has really pushed the agenda that we're all the same and there's no difference between us, and man can be woman, woman can be man. And I think that's a really fundamental and foundational principle that the left has tried to take and leave it to the excuse of compassion, right?
It was Obama. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hear you.
Okay, yeah. That's Obama and the Democrats. Yeah, like you said too, like if somebody's gay or whatever, that's on them. That's none of my business. What you do in your own bedroom, whatever, that's to you or whatever. I'm not gonna, whatever. But you
Absolutely.
know, how Obama, they were like ramming it down our throats. Like, you know what I mean? They were like, make us and attack Christians. They were even making pastors turn over their sermons. Like, they were just totally ramming it down our throat too much. Like I said, that's on you or whatever. But even like that, that's what I didn't like. And that's what I was like,
Yeah.
you guys
I
just want
think
to
I
keep it
think there's
going.
a big difference between having an opinion, a personal opinion of what should be happening, and even creating a movement or a culture behind it, as the LGBT does. But the minute it gets mandated by government is the minute that it becomes a problem for me. And I think you feel the same way. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. That's just wrong how they do. But if you notice, it's been less since Trump did it. It was like
Oh
that. That's
yeah.
where it got all started because of Obama. That's why I always tell blacks and all that, like, he didn't do nothing. They try to, and then they just say, oh, well, Trump, well, he couldn't because of whatever. I was like, yeah. So he couldn't do nothing for blacks, but look at all he was doing for the gays and that. He was all over doing all kinds of stuff for the LGBT, whatever, their movement. And look, he didn't do nothing for us. So he had no power or nothing to help the blacks, but he had power to help the LBG, the gays, whatever. You know what I mean? It was just
Right.
totally jacked up. But you notice it's been a lot like how it was under Trump. It's like, stop Trump. You know what I mean? He's doing good. Like I said, if somebody's scared, whatever, your family member's scared, whatever, that's on them. I'll say I'm for traditional marriage. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
God says it. That's what I believe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
don't
I
I
kind
don't
of take
hate
the
them. Yeah, I don't hate you, or I'll share the gospel with you, and God will save you too. Just because I was the biggest sinner. You know what I'm saying? I used to be ex-gamer. I used to do shootings, all that. So I ain't
wow.
like judge. I'm just saying God said it's wrong, so do I.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like to take when it comes to politics, the kind of Ben Shapiro approach where he says, I don't think the government should be in any form of marriage, right? I don't think they should be the ones dictating who can and can't get married. I think it should be left up to your community and your churches or whatever it is that you believe in. So I definitely agree with you there. I mean, I'm not judging anybody for their sexual orientation, but the minute it becomes legislation is the minute now we have to care about it as citizens of this country. I am interested to know what your take is on. I know how you were mentioning Trump has been doing a lot for minorities since he got into office. What's your take on the Hispanic Prosperity Initiative and what he did to spawn that whole Goya controversy?
Yeah, it was good. He's gonna help us with like training, and you know what I mean. It's
Yeah,
good. And then with the school choice, that was like the big part of it. That's why they even had Betsy DeVos up there speaking,
right.
because he's gonna help us with the true educational training, and you know what I mean, to help us with better jobs, things like that. It was just great that Trump
Yeah,
did it. That's why it's just ridiculous how they try to say he's racist or he don't like Latinos, because, like I always say, he's done more for Latinos than any president I ever seen. He's the only
yeah.
one doing things. So, and like, he invited me to the White House 4 times. I already been to the White House 4 times. So
Wow.
we would trip out on that. He has an ex-gang member, Lexit
Yeah,
from LA, from the hood. I'm from the righteous border and all that, to the
right.
White House 4 times. But
Wow.
you know,
Yeah, if he's a racist, then he's a really bad racist, right? He's really bad at
you know what I'm
it.
saying? Who else was gonna let an ex-gang member, especially anybody that knows me from my old hood? I was bad. I wasn't just
Wow.
in a
Praise
gang
God,
and all
man.
that. I was the leader of my gang. I was bad one.
Wow. I
Yeah.
would love to hear about, first of all, I'd love to have you back on to talk about your whole story of being an ex-gang member. But really, right now, what I'd love to talk about is what it was like actually being in the White House and what that experience kind of did for you. How did that mold or shape your perspective on government, on the president, and on politics in general?
Mm, it was just a blessing to me. I was just like overwhelmed. I felt like Joseph in the Bible. I said, from
Mm.
jail cell to the White House. You know what I mean? I was blown away by God, and I was just like, with God, all things are possible, because I always say it. It wasn't nothing because of me or whatever. That was God that put me in the White House. Because it all goes back to my like testimony. Because I have like a righteous testimony, how I got
Mm,
shot and all that stuff, where I was dying and all that.
of
Just
course.
another part of my testimony showing that, it's like I tell everybody, I was supposed to die that day I got shot, but God left me for a reason. And
Amen.
that's just for all my testimony, went to the White House and all that. But the first couple times were like that, and then especially when I when I actually got to meet Trump and all of that and all that. So that was really cool. But this last time, I wasn't so much I wasn't even gonna go actually when I first got the invitation. But all my team was like, because I already been there 3 times.
Right.
But the team was like, nah, you gotta go, this and this and that. All the other Lexit crew. So I was like, all right, I'll roll. And I was just chilling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I've been there already, and then even in the Rose Garden, I was already in the Rose Garden and all that. But it was
Yeah,
still cool. It was still pleasant. Once I got there, and I was like, yeah, it's
I
taking
love
too much.
that. Well,
That's what
I hope you go 4 more times, and I hope each time that God blesses you a favor in that area,
maybe one more. I don't know.
man.
It's a lot. It's a lot for me, man. 'Cause it's like a 8-hour flight, and it's like
Oh, right.
it's my butt. You know, because I'm in a wheelchair. It's like a lot of.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I was like, because it's not like, you know what I mean? I can't just walk and say, let's go jump on fire. It's, to me, it's like a big old.
Right, right, right. Yeah, it's a whole ordeal to go there.
And I
Yeah,
already did
see,
it. It's my 4th time. So I'm thinking maybe one more time if on September, if they do open up the Hispanic Heritage Month, whatever again, if we go for
right.
that one, then maybe I'll go that
That's awesome, man. See, I love your story for multiple reasons. Obviously, the grace of God is all over you, but I think from a political perspective, there's like an innate through line in your story that pretty much shows anybody on the left the amount of nonsense that systematic oppression really is, right? The idea that the laws are set up to somehow keep minorities or people of color down when you're somebody that's literally gone from being in a gang to being in jail, and now you're visiting the White House and meeting the president. You know, it's like if laws were designed to keep you down, there's no possible way you would have been in the White House, right?
one. Yeah, even too how they be trying to be like against the cops and all that. And I was like, even when I was the baddest I ever was, with hardcore gang member in prison, what the baddest point if I ever was in my life, I never hated cops, ever. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Anytime they ever got me or whatever, it's because I was doing wrong. Yeah, there's some jerk cops in there, but there's a lot of cool cops too. Like I said, I never in my life, even when I was a righteous soul gang member and all that, I
Right.
never hated cops or was against
I feel
cops.
like there's a shared code of ethics, right? When you're in that kind of life with between whoever you are and that police officer or the police officers in your town to just kind of be mutually respectful of each other because you don't want to step on each other's toes. First of all, you don't want to get caught doing what you're doing, and they don't want to get hurt, right? So there's that mutual respect that kind of has to be there to keep a town safe or an environment safe. Can you unpack that a little bit of what that was like for you, just like dealing with cops during that dark time in your life?
Um, I was like I said, I was just always pretty cool with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I never hated cops. Like I said, there was way more cool ones than there was punk ones, but there was punk ones. But I would never blame all cops because of 1 or 2 punk cops. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But that's what the left tries to do. But it's all just about the election. That's just what they always put. That's all they want to talk about is
Mm,
race, race. They don't want to talk about the good economy, no nothing good and all that. That's
yeah,
all they want to talk. Like even right now with all this corona and all that. Like we ain't no psychics, but me and my crew, we were saying that for weeks, months ago and all that. We were saying as soon as the riots stop, watch, they're gonna start pushing the Rona again. Like we already were saying it in advance. As soon as the riots stop, they're gonna start pushing the Rona.
yeah. It's funny that you're actually in California because I follow a pastor in the
Lights were
California
on. They
area.
didn't at all mention it. You know what I mean? They were even saying, imagine how ridiculous, bro. Even on 4th of July over in California, imagine on the news, all that they were saying, stay home, don't go out to don't celebrate and all that 4th of July unless you're protesting. Then that's okay. Can you believe that, bro? Even people that were not even conservative, they were like, what? Like audacity. Now they're not even hiding it no more.
Yeah, they're not even tiptoeing around it at this point. Did you see the worshipers that were meeting at the Golden Gate Bridge, who were there just specifically to worship, in spite of the crackdown that they were having on people in the church not being allowed to sing in church? So there's a pastor that I follow. His name is Sean Foyt, and he's been very vocal about kind of the same things that you've been vocal about, in particular with the churches and how California is treating the churches. Has there been any weirdness going on with maybe your local churches or people in your
Yeah,
area?
they've been shutting them down. That's why like Calvary Chapel, they were like the main ones. They were like, you know what, we're going out. That's what made him kind of like
Hmm.
break it down, because at first he was like no church and all of that, and then Calvary Chapel, a big Jack Hibbs, he's like a big, he goes to the White House and all of that, he's pretty big, but he said, you know what, we're gonna open regardless on the 31st, whatever that's what he's on. Either regardless, we're gonna open regardless, right? And then Trump came out and said something about open up the church, and then like the next day, Gavin opens them all of a sudden miraculously. He opens them up because he's seeing that the churches were just going to mash on him. So, but then now today, he just said, now again, today no churches. But right before I came on, because I said I'm just been so busy right now. I seen one of the Calvary pastors put, "We're not shutting down." Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
hope these churches. And I missed a few weeks at church too, because they were like, "You have to wear a mask." And I'm like, I ain't gonna wear no mask or whatever. You know what I mean? I ain't wear no mask.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I'm not. When I go to church every Sunday here, and things are still pretty rough, Jersey, New York area.
We
There's
have our
some.
girls out there. You know our members that are out there by you?
The way I found out about you guys is through Becky.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
you know
yeah,
Becky. Have you interviewed her?
on Instagram I have, but I've been talking with her about this kind of stuff for a little while now. So I've watched the development of her I guess political commentary, and it's great to see, man. She's on fire right now.
Yeah, she's one of our most valuable pieces. Like he does, Becky. Yeah, but you should get her. You should interview Becky, and then even we have Tony and Marcos. They're out that way towards New York or somewhere by you, Marcos and
Oh, great.
Tony. You
Yeah,
should
I
get
want to start doing
definitely
more
get Becky
in
on.
person. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying you should get Becky on, man. She's good.
Yeah, I will for sure. I'm gonna show her this clip so that now she has to do it.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah. But no, I mean, here in Jersey, things are kind of weird. So, I mean, I'm still going to church every Sunday. I'm not wearing a mask, but there are people that are, if they feel like they need to, we do
That's
our best
cool.
to separate people and all
Yeah,
that.
I was thinking that too. This last, it made me even think more because when I was flying out to Washington, all that, I had to wear a mask on the flight, and I was thinking like, okay, if somebody's wearing because I was wearing a mask, if I see somebody walking without a mask, why should I care if they don't have a mask on? If I have a mask, I'm saying if
Yeah,
masks work and all of that, and I have the mask on because it's protecting me, supposed to be whatever.
right,
Why should I care if somebody else doesn't have it? If I have one and if it works, you know what I'm saying? That makes no sense. How you have a mask on, but yet they're crying because somebody else. You should care less if they don't have one. As long as you have one on, you should not
right,
care. You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's very like it's backwards science a little bit. It's they keep changing the rules, so you never know which rules to follow, and that's really the big thing that I have about it. The big question that I have about it is like, when are we actually going to have some concrete rules or some concrete science on how this thing actually spreads, so that we can avoid it instead of just constantly changing the rules every day. I'm finding out, well, masks don't work, masks do work. It's 6 feet, social distancing. Okay, but you can still go to Walmart, but you can't go to church, or you can't sing at church. And it's just constantly just shifting the goalposts, and that I think is more frustrating than anything. I wouldn't mind wearing a mask if we knew it was going to stop the spread, but we don't even know that for sure.
It's just ridiculous. It's to me, they're just using. It's not even. I don't even. I'm not saying it's a hoax, or but
Right,
they're just using. It's all about the election. Watch. After the election's over, you're not going to hear about COVID no more. Just like when the riots were, you didn't
right,
hear nothing about it. It's going to be the same. Watch. It's all just for the elections. Like it ain't no coincidence that the economy started wrapping back up again. The stock market numbers started doing good again. So boom, they
right,
lock us down because they can't have the economy, like they want it to be all bad and all, so then they could skate. So then their narrative, because I'm telling you, right now, if you talk to those liberals right now, that's going to be their narrative, that it's all bad, it's all Trump's fault, he's doing a terrible job, the economy, like everything. That's what they want. They want everything to be bad, so then they're going to blame, oh, it was Trump's fault, the coronavirus, it's all bad. That's what they're trying to push. It's so bad. It's so bad. The numbers are all the death numbers and all that is way down. You know what I mean? Like they said, the number of cases. I don't believe that anyways, because we posted so much stuff exposing them where they're inflating numbers a bunch of times, where they're
right,
caught inflating numbers and doing all kinds of crap. But the numbers still went down. The death rate is way down and all that. But you're locking us down. It's all about, they're using it like as a weapon. You see how, because they've been losing the elections and all that,
hmm
but they're using the virus to do all their agenda. You see what
Oh
they're
yeah.
doing?
Yeah, I mean, we just did our primary voting here in Jersey last week, and I got a pop-up notification on my Facebook from the Democratic Party saying that you'll be automatically getting a Democratic primary voting slip sent to your house so that you don't have to go to the polls, which I think is hilarious because I'm a registered Democrat. I'm a registered Republican, right? I don't even register for anything in the Democratic. Like, I don't even really have that much Democratic content that I watch, let alone am registered as a Republican. So they reminded me, and I was like, oh crap, that's today. So I actually went to the voting booth and I went to the poll, and everybody there was wearing masks, gloves, and everything. They didn't let me touch any pens or anything. And it was just funny to see, like, people pretty much being scared out of voting. You know, that to me is going to be a huge, I guess, conspiracy. And that would come November, because how are we going to avoid any of those problems? You know, like, I don't know what things are like over in California with that, but are they doing mail-in voting over there?
I don't know. They haven't really said. Yeah, I know they were trying to push it, but I think they're like trying to fight it. I don't know
Wow.
what to do. But yeah, this all this corrupt evil. We're like, it's a war right now. I mean, we're fighting with the New World Order, the globalists, the evil Democrat, all of that. It's like a. That's why I tell you, just screw. It's not even about politics no more, bro.
Right.
Just all that Republican, Democrat. That's all out the door. We're fighting for America, right? We're battling straight evil. We're like all the
Yeah.
forces of evil. Like I tell everybody, we're on the last days, and you can
Yeah.
just tell we're
Yeah.
fighting
I would love to
evil.
get your take on this, because I totally agree. I think these are evil ideologies, right? These are evil mentalities and thoughts, or ideas that people are holding, right? For me, what I've noticed is that this is when you take it down to its bare minimum, it's a war on words, language, and meaning, right? So the left constantly does this thing where they say a phrase or they say something, and then you criticize that, and then they're like, no, that's not what we mean by that. So a typical example of that would be like defund the police. They came out and said, defund the police, we want to defund the police, and all of us were like, are you serious, you want to defund the police? And we started giving statistics, analysis, reasons why you shouldn't, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, 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 that's not what we mean by defund the police. What we really mean is X, Y, and Z. And I think that is such.
What do they mean? What do they mean by it then? I haven't even heard their excuses. What do they mean by it?
So their excuse is that what they mean by defund is to stop the funding, stop all of the funding from going to the police, and instead use some of it to, let's say, hire social workers or hire other people that will be more equipped to deal with some of the things that cops aren't good at dealing with. Like, let's say there's a disturbance of somebody that's like naked on the sidewalk and exposing themselves, something crazy like that, right? Instead of sending a police officer, they'd send like somebody whose specialty is like psychiatry or something like
See, that's ridiculous. Give me,
that. Yeah,
are you joking, bro? Is
right.
that real?
Yeah, and
Oh,
I have friends that are police officers, and they told me, they're like, the amount of things that we see on the job is traumatizing. From like 1 week of working, you get enough trauma that most people don't get in 50
I
years of
know,
life.
bro, because I did 7 years in jail, so I seen the type of dudes that are in there. You know what I mean? I know that's
Yeah,
just terrible. That's what I'm saying. Everything that they do or they say, they're just, to me, you got to be out of your mind to vote a Democrat. I think
right.
because even when I was the worst I was, even when I was all a Democrat, even then, if I was right now, I don't think I would support you. I mean, even if I never got saved,
Yeah.
never
I
anything,
think I think like
I
you and like a lot of people, we were just default Democrats, right? Just Democrats because you just didn't know. It's just you're just dispositioned to be a Democrat before you get into politics, right? Then you start looking into things. You're like, huh, maybe the Democratic way to do everything is not just what the left says. Maybe you do need some actual conservative values thrown in there to keep the country intact. So yeah, man, those are the excuses that you get from defunding the police, and I think it's really funny to see the left have to take their argument to extreme levels to remain consistent, right? So like now the latest with AOC, and I'd love to get your take on this, is that she's saying that the jump in crime in New York City is because people are literally starving to death and have to steal food to feed their babies. which doesn't make sense because she was the one that got rid of the jobs coming to New York when it was
And
Amazon was
we're the
there.
one pushing the lockdown that's killing the economy. That's what I'm saying. I knew that from the beginning. I was like, I told people that on our War Room show and all that, we were pushing that. We're like, see how they're saying, okay, shut down everything. Oh, because they're going, oh, you're a killer if you don't. Shut everything down to kill the economy. And then once the economy's killed, then they're going to start blaming, oh, Trump's fault. Then they're going to start crying. Right now they're crying, saying to shut down the thing and all that. And then after when we lose the job and everything, the economy's, everything's gone, then
Yeah.
then they're going to complain about that. Then it's Trump's fault and all that. When they're the ones that've been pushing the lockdowns and all that crap.
Yeah, yeah, it's unbelievable the amount of backtracking and like doublespeak that has to happen
It's
for
because
them
they
to.
can do that because of the fake media. That's why there's so many hypocrisy things that they do and all that. And you're like, how could they possibly do that or whatever? It's because no matter what they do or say or whatever, the fake media is going to be right there, like that's the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, see how even like
Yeah,
perfect
yeah,
example, defund the police. Instead of the media coming out like, what? What do you mean defund the police? Instead of like whacking them, hitting them, they were like trying to justify, like, yeah, maybe
yeah. I
they
was
should.
about to say the same thing. At the minute that the defund the police thing started happening, we started seeing like Vox articles and Huffington Post articles and all these things about what we actually mean by defund the police. And then it's funny because the next step up from that is like, no, abolish the police, right? So now you have the same people that started the movement when the media told them what the legitimate thing would be to do is now they're just like, no, 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 we don't want your advice. We literally mean abolish the police. and
Yeah,
and
but that's
that
what those whacked out ones that are out there protesting ones and all that.
yeah,
That's what they're pushing. They're pushing against the police, like those Antifa ones
yeah,
and all those. That's what they're pushing. But you know what this all is, though? Even the riots, bro. Check it out. It's these same liberals, bro, that remember since day one when Trump won. Remember they were out there remember when Trump first won, like the first year,
they were
they're having
crying and
a bunch
stuff.
of back-to-back protests, and the fake media was all, look at these all these people and they're protesting, whatever. It's the same ones, bro. The only thing now is they're hiding behind the BLM because of the now they got the blacks out there and whatever was going on with that. So they're hiding behind them, and it's just the same anti-Trump nuts, wackos, liberals. That is the same ones, bro,
I
that are out
agree.
there now doing all
I'll
this.
even I'll even go one step further than you maybe, and I'll push back and say it's the same group as the Occupy Wall Street protests. Occupy Wall Street was just this weird mix of like Marxist ideology, anarchy, socialism, just wanting to level the playing field for everybody. Not only the playing field, but the results of the game. Right? They want to level the results of the game, and it's those same groups of thought and those same people that I think turned into Antifa and the left, and then that turns into BLM and all of these things. They're coming from the same worldviews, which to me is what I talk about a lot more than anything, is how Marxism and socialism and tribalism contradicts the Bible itself, right? And to me, that's what I've been seeing. That's what really opened my eyes to politics in the first place was the Occupy Wall Street protest, because I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be like, yeah, you know, the 1% sucks, but then I just couldn't find it in myself to be like, yeah, I don't want to punish somebody for being successful.
But like us, we've been like some of the most vocal. We've been like some of the most
Oh
vocal
yeah,
against the BLM Lexit. We've been putting it like we've been saying we stand against them. Like even oh, that's like we're getting us mad when it was first happening. Like a lot
yeah,
disappointed in a lot of Republicans. They were like breaking it down, bowing down to them and all, but not us from day one. We're like, what?
yeah,
Lexit, we stand against BLM. We're against it. We're just puppets from the Democrat Party. That was even before it came out. They were
wow,
Marxists and all that other crap. We were, or even before that, we were like, nah. We already knew the scam. We already knew the jig was up. We're like, all they
yeah,
are is Democrat puppets. If they were legitimate, just all black, like, okay, let Candace and let conservative ones be part of BLM and let's see. You know what I'm saying? Hell no, because they're
right.
just all Democrats. It's just all they're just pushing the Democrat agenda. So we've been out bold. We've been out the most vocal. We feel that we had to be because a lot of the whites were scared. Oh, because they're all racism and all that crap and all that. So that's why we started pushing real hard. So, nah,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
against it.
and I saw that's really where I got most of, I guess the initial exposure to you guys, to your movement, is when the whole BLM thing started happening. I knew that this was a Marxist movement. I wrote an article about them like in 2015, and when all this started happening, I was like, this is leading down a bad road. Let me see who's still on board and who still has a brain. And you guys were one of the first ones that popped up, and I was just like, oh, I have to support, man. I have to do everything I can. I know you're pressed for time, so I want
Yeah,
to
I
get
got it.
one more. Yeah, I want to get one more question out of you. We can wrap this up. Where do you see this going? Where do you see the Black Lives Matter movement going? Where do you see the COVID stuff going? Where do you see the Conservative Party if Trump wins within the next couple of years?
It's gonna be good, bro. But I just see the black be all that kind of stuff. It's all you ain't gonna the COVID all that after the election, bro. You ain't gonna hear none of that. It's all about the election, bro. It's all about taking out Trump. It's the deep state, the New World Order, globalists, all of that. It's against Trump. They've been trying to take him out, bro, with the Russia hoax, the impeachment hoax, and then COVID, and that didn't take him out at first. So then they tried the riots. That didn't work. So then now they're back to COVID. Like, it has to always be something. Even if they said tomorrow there's not one COVID thing or nothing, it would be something else that they would be outraged or whatever. We already knew, like I said, Lexi, we were been calling it months ago. We said, we told people in advance, we're like, none of us, we're not psychics, but look, we're all telling you this. As soon as the riots die down, they're gonna start pushing the Rona again. We call it, eh? Sure enough, eh? That's exactly the same way I'm saying it now. Soon as the elections are over, the Rona, you know, it's not gonna be no problem. Or that's what it's about. It's the whole thing is to take out Trump, to destroy the economy. Like I said, they want to make, oh, the Rona looks so bad, everything's all bad. Oh, it's Trump's fault. He wasn't. Like I'm telling you, any righteous soul, nutty old liberal right now, if you talk to, that's what they're gonna say. They're gonna say,
Right.
Trump did a terrible job on the Rona. Look at all these, like what? Like, are you out of your mind? How the hell are you trying to blame Trump or the economy? That's why I tell so much people trying to say, yeah, that's why things are all, look at America's all burning down and all that. The Trump, I said, are you kidding me? That's the Democrats burning that down. You know, that's the Democrats doing
Right.
all that crap, and they're doing it because everything was going great. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
that's what it's all about, bro. This is all, anybody watching and all that, it's all about the elections. Once the elections are over, it's gonna, and then watch, and then two, look, that the pedophiles are all getting busted. You know what I mean? They're busting the deep state scumbags. Comey and all of them are getting cracked. So look, that's why all of this stuff too, bro. It's more. But Trump is standing against. It's against the globalists and all of that. That's what it is.
Right.
And all of it. But even some goes right. That's how you could tell on the Republican side who's the globalist New World Order ones. The ones that are against Trump, those are the ones from the Republican side too.
Hmm.
But that's what it's all about, bro. It's because it's like they were out to destroy America, and they're still trying, bro. That's why Trump's gonna have to do something, bro. He
Yeah.
messed up. That's one thing that Trump messed up on. Is he messed up by letting these governors and all that have control of it? Because I'm telling you right now, these Democrats will never. Like I said, they can say no cases of corona tomorrow. They won't ever let us off, these Democrats. They'll
Right.
never let us go back to normal. As long as he's leaving it into their power, their hands, they will never, anybody listening, remember this, the Democrats will never let us go back to free as long as, that's why Trump needs to just man up and just say, you know what, that's it, nuh-uh, stop.
Hmm.
He needs to,
Interesting, man.
when he does that, the Democrats are going to keep on pushing this.
I love it, man. I think you're right about a lot. I agree that the pedophilia thing is just becoming more and more mainstream, and it's getting very scary. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I do want to give people the option to be able to follow you. So if there's any place that you'd like them to follow or anything you'd like to plug, please feel free to plug away, man.
on uh, on Instagram. We're at Lexit Movement, and then watch out, guys. Be careful because there's a fake. Like I said, our Lexit page, our other page got stolen, but there's also a fake Lexit. They should be gone pretty soon, but there's these weenies, rhinos, fake Lexit. So make sure they're not. If it's not me, Nino, Becky, La Chavista, A-Rod, or our crew, then they're not Lexit. If you see them, anybody, fake Lexus trying to come out, if it's not me or none of my crew, then they're not Lexit. So, but we're on Instagram, we're Lexit Movement. And then on Facebook, we're on the real Lexit page. That's us. And the other ones is fake Lexit. So don't go
Got
for
it.
them. And the last little thing I wanted to say is, if you're not right with God, you better make sure you're right with God, because Jesus is coming soon. It's the last days, and make sure you're right with God. That's it.
Amen, brother. Thank you so much for your time and just being gracious enough to have this conversation with me. I look forward to being in touch. So just keep an eye out for some DMs I'll send you, and I just look forward to connecting with you and your movement.
Make sure you have Becky on, and maybe let A-Rod, Nino, a couple of crew members. They should probably come too.
Absolutely, man. I'd be honored to have them. So
All
thanks
right.
a lot, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too.